What is up, RotoGrinders? 2 hours nonstop NBA DFS conversation. It starts right now, 5:30 on a Monday. That's right, 2 hours because the slate starts a little bit later than normal. 7:30. 7:30 is official lock tonight. Very, very strange slate where it's kind of cut in half. 5 games are 10 o'clock or later on the East Coast. Not doing any favors to the East Coast dads out there that are playing DFS. Myself and Chop, we're going to knock this out for the next hour and change, and then we hand it off, of course, to Crunch Time. Kevin Roth leading that team. He's taking you guys all the way up to lock tonight. Joining Roth, I believe it's Kirkwood, Kirkdiese, yeah, and Bobby Gomes as well. Chopper, happy Monday. How are things?
Chilling like a villain, Dean. Can't
Bob
complain. Have you seen that movie?
The Bob Dylan movie? No, I've not seen it yet.
Chalamet.
Is it good?
He was nominated for.
Chalamet.
I have not seen it, but
yeah, I haven't seen it either. I'll see it when it comes. Somewhere I'll watch it.
They're asking in chat about Electric State. I watched it on Friday. I actually enjoyed it, Dean. I mean, it's getting terrible reviews, but I found it to be like 2 hours of something different. I found it to be entertaining in a way. So I didn't think it was nearly as bad as the reviews have it. So I don't, I'm not hating it, man.
Sometimes you find massive discrepancies on Rotten Tomatoes. 13% from 99 reviewers, official critics. Just over 1,000 people have actually written a review. It just came out on Netflix. This is like the general population. This is you, Chop. This is your people. 75% liked it. So that's a huge discrepancy. 13% versus 75%. You typically don't get that kind of margin, but they said it was potentially one of the biggest busts ever as far as the amount of money it cost. And we'll see.
So here's my question, Dean.
Yes.
This was not a release to theater movie. This was Netflix.
Now, I don't know if that was the original plan or not. And they said, well, this is going to bomb in the
no, they couldn't.
I don't know.
You're not going to spend 300.
No,
I can't imagine. Well, no. Who made the movie? Wasn't it produced and funded by Netflix?
It might have been. I'm not sure.
So the intention was probably never to go to movie theater. So when Netflix spends that kind of money, and it wouldn't be, okay, let's say they didn't, but they've done it before. Netflix has made their own movies before.
Sure.
And they
not this scale, though.
But they've spent a lot of, I would venture to say some of those movies were in the $100 million range. You're not getting tickets. I know you're thinking about subs, but how are they thinking they're going to get that much value for spending that much money on a movie? I understand you do it for the tickets at the theater and how that works. But when you're a sub service like Netflix or even Hulu or somebody like that, Apple, whatever, you make your own movies, how do you expect to get paid? So as far as when you say it's a huge bomb, well, it was 300 million, but what were they supposed to get out of the 300 million? An extra X amount of subs? I don't think.
Well, it's keeping subs too, right? You got to keep the subs.
Exactly.
They stick around for things like this.
You put a movie out there. I think you do something to keep your subs. I don't know. Just me. I'm no expert in the category.
Mr. Gergen chat says I only got through an hour of Electric State and I could not do it anymore. I just clicked and I was curious how much it cost, and first thing I found was a headline that says Netflix's most expensive movie ever. The Electric State is a dumb, unfunny $320 million flop. So again, opinions, whatever, but supposedly, and if you liked it, great. That's all that matters.
Unfunny. There was times I caught myself. I'm not a big movie laugher unless it's a really funny movie. I found myself laughing at a few of the inside jokes from some of the characters, especially the robots. The robots had a sense of humor, so I didn't mind it at all.
I can tell you it's a movie Monday, and just you can cross one off the list. Today's movie is not the Electric States. It is not the Electric States. We'll go ahead and drop that clue momentarily as we get going. It's a 10-gamer.
Just wait a minute, Dean. Don't gloss over the elephant in the room here, Dean.
What's that?
Did you happen to catch Righteous Gemstones last night?
I have not. I watched that. I didn't get the full Walton Goggins experience.
You're going to get it tonight then. Whenever you tune in, you're going to get the full elephant trunk.
So I don't want to spoil it for you or ruin it for you. I do know because I heard him talking about it. It was not. It was a stunt. It was not officially him. Just so
Of
if
course
that matters
not.
for you. Yeah.
No, of course not. A star of his caliber is not going to expose himself in that nature.
But if you're watching the other show that he stars in on HBO, oh geez, why am I losing the name of the show? He's in
Lotus,
both shows.
White Lotus.
Yeah, he was probably in the best scene last night. It was I don't know if you with Sam Rockwell, in an episode that was loaded with good scenes.
Star power, man. I was surprised. Yeah, that's just star power all over that show.
Was that a spoiler saying Sam Rockwell's in it? Nah,
no,
not really.
No, but it's just
really
an actor. They just get stars to do cameos like that. Crazy.
Yeah, but that scene was pretty spectacular. Looking forward to seeing how White Lotus. Well, there's still 3 more episodes left, so we got plenty of time. And yeah, I'll watch the Gemstones tonight. But that's. I assume we're actually gonna see Baby Billy and the characters this week. And yeah, looking forward to the old Walter Goggins just locking it down in the HBO time slot for the next so many weeks. Lots of body parts to monitor, Chop. This time of year, 10-gamer. The tricky thing as far as this slate, there's many tricky things, I suppose, is that half the slate, again, 5 of the 10 games start at 10 o'clock or later. We just never get that. Just a lot of teams on the West Coast happen to be hosting games. ESPN doubleheader, the front half is the Miami-New York game, the only game at 7:30. We'll talk about that game, but I'm pretty sure I'm not playing anybody there just to kind of get myself an extra half hour of information. Lots of players that are vital. Joker is questionable. Now, will we get news on Joker at 8 o'clock? Probably not. Maybe. I'm not sure. It is the back half of the ESPN doubleheader. Steph Curry also questionable for that ESPN game. There's only one team in the front end of a back-to-back. That is Golden State. There are 7 teams on the back end. And 3 of them are the egregious tankers. Philadelphia, Utah, Toronto. Toronto's been terrible at tanking, actually. They finally lost, but they won too many games in a row. Shout out to Utah, I guess, because now they've taken over Washington as the number 1 spot in the tankathon, so good for them. Philadelphia, Minnesota, Utah, Toronto, Phoenix, Portland, and the Lakers. Luka expected to play. The team's playing the 4th game in 5 nights. Of course, Luka and a lot of the guys missed. They didn't play all 4 of those games, or they missed one of the games in the middle. Other players that are questionable we'll monitor. I said Steph. I said Joker. Tyrese Halliburton's questionable versus the Pacers. Versus the T-Wolves. He's on the Pacers. Basically, the entire starting lineup is questionable. Miles Turner as well. Jamal Murray, I believe, is questionable. Giddey is doubtful for Chicago. That's the only game in between, right? There's a bunch of games. The early block is at 8 o'clock, essentially. And then there's one game in the middle at 9. I think we have to pay attention to it because it's Utah. And we love picking on Utah. We have some cheap Bulls, and they're going to be a little bit thin with the absence of Giddey. We also have Scottie Pippen is questionable, which, he's playable. And if he doesn't go, then Ja and Pippen are out. So Kennard looks really, really strong. Sabonis not in the injury report, kind of surprising because he got dinged last game, but I guess he's fine. We'll see. It's a lot. It's a lot going on, Chop. Curious your overall approach. We got Kamara, also a questionable tag for Portland against Washington. It's going to be hard to tank against the Wizards, but, I guess they're probably going to win that game whether they want to or not. How are you seeing the slates? Anything big picture you want to point out before we fully dive in?
How am I seeing the slate? I don't know. It's just another slate in the NBA, Dean. We got star power tonight, a little bit of value popping up, some stylistic matchups I really like that we'll get into, and just piecing this thing together, man, figuring out a way. So it's a one lineup experience for me tonight, based on the times that the games are at, and having to tune in the whole night and having 10 games and it being all over the place. So, that's where I'm at, but I'll try to narrow it down as much as possible.
I see T from LOC in chat says, Dean, can we start talking baseball? NBA's pure luck box at this point. I mean, look, you just got to pay attention to a lot of basketball stuff. And there are some rotations that are trickier than others. But baseball does start at 6 in the morning or 5 in the morning. The Dodgers are playing the Cubs over in Japan. I think it's Japan. We were talking about this pre-show. Betts has already been ruled out for the first 2 games, whatever the series is. I think it's 2 games. He's lost 15 pounds. He's ill. So, lots of guys are getting injured as well. Looking forward to the season starting. We'll be grinding baseball soon enough. Stay tuned up. I cannot wait to start talking about baseball as well. We'll have a good time with that. By the way, we got Bridges out. I wanted to ignore that first game. Maybe I can't now? I'm not sure. Bridges is out for New York. That's of note because they're already without Brunson. Curious to see how that changes things. Would a guy like Payne or Shamet become interesting? Possibly. Okay. We'll keep our eye on that. But, Chop, anything else before we dive in? I know you want today's first clue. I assume you want today's first clue.
I want that clue.
We will drop it now. And what is Movie Monday? Well, you get yourself a free week of RotoGrinders Premium. If you're the first person to tell me what movie we are talking about, you do so in the Discord channel, rotogrinders.com/Discord. The live stream chat channel does not cost you anything to participate in that Discord channel. Almost all the Discord channels are free. There are a few that are premium. That one, of course, is one of the free ones. Just need a standard RG account. First clue, Chop, and only give your answers there. Only guess once per clue drop. The number 5 is today's. Oh, is it? It's Miles Bridges. Oh, geez. I thought it was New York Bridges. I read that wrong. I thought it was Mikal Bridges. All right, my bad. Today's first clue is 5. 5, Chop. Let me know. Chop likes to play. I think you got it last time. You were close to the first person to get it last time in our little private chat. But, okay. So that was Miles Bridges. That changes things. Good.
I was going to say that's kind of a big deal because isn't he on like the longest streak of not missing a game?
Yeah, you're right. He pretty much plays every single game.
So, I was like, oh, that's kind of a big deal. I wonder what happened.
Yeah, but Jared Allen thinks played every game this year. He's another guy that's played every game this season. There's a few that have they're old school gamers, as the throwback people would say, I suppose. But all right, let's do it. Let's dive in. First game, Chop. It is the only game at 7:30. And again, no games at 7 o'clock. Obviously, that's why we're jumping on a little bit late. And also, it's the lowest game on the board by 10, 15, 20 points or so. My terrible Miami Heat team takes on New York. Bit of a rival here as far as the history. 209 is the total. 209. That is a paltry. There's not much of a total for a basketball game these days. That is our total. Let me go ahead and refresh and pull up our injury report because we got a 5:30 report for Miami. Highsmith is good to go. Jovic, of course, is still out with the hand. Duncan Robinson's available with his back. Wiggins is kind of sketchy, questionable right now with his leg. Burks is out for New York. It's just Brunson as far as who's of note. Do you agree with me, Chop, by the way? I mean, certainly you can play yourself some cat if you want, have at it. You can always play Josh Hart. He can get himself the old school 10-10-10 triple dub. I think I'm just punting this game off though. Not the best environment. 7:30 game. I want news. I want information. I don't want to lock up too many early spots unless they're really good. How do you feel about Miami and New York?
Not particularly good. I'm not seeing anybody in this game that has any type of ownership. So if you're fading this game, it's not like you can get caught in that, bad ownership. New York is priced appropriately with Jalen Brunson out now. You have to spend $10K on Cat. All right. So if you're going to twist my arm and say who's good for New York, maybe you could go Josh Hart. Maybe that's fine. You could go with one of those wings, OG or Bridges. They're fine because, there's a possibility one of them has a pretty good game every once in a while. So, but they're priced where they should be, so they're not going to jump off. It's a low garbage total. It's just not a good game. Miami is pretty boring these days, and I'm just not into it. Maybe Tyler Hero is a little bit cheapish right now compared to what he's been earlier in the year, and it's not a terrible matchup. Maybe you could go maybe you can go with Tyler Hero. He was today's the 17th, so 4 days ago he played, and he was 8,800. Now he's 8,300, so you get a bit of a discount there, coming off of a bad game. But there's nothing to this game that makes me think, I've got to play somebody in this game. This is a good game. No, this is definitely a fadeable and wait till the next round of games kind of thing here.
Yeah, even if Wiggins doesn't play, I still don't feel great about anybody in Miami. Is that kind of where you're at? Like, somebody probably rises, but I don't want to play that.
Stink, man. They're so boring. I can't. There's a mental thing there in DFS. If you just don't see excitement in a team and they drag the whole game down, it's tough, man. It's tough to feel like you want to play anybody from that thing, especially with one roster. I almost guarantee you nobody from this game will be on my team.
Yeah, it could be one of Jaquez or Rozier or maybe Anderson, but I just don't whatever, man. I don't think I'm playing any of those guys. That's pretty much where I'm at. Ownership, by the way, right now, only one player on FanDuel, 15% or more, or 10% or more, is Mikal Bridges, the only one hitting stuff on FanDuel at all. And nobody in double digits on DK. Bridges and Towns are on the edge. They're close to 10%. They're playable, sure. Bridges is a guy. McBride's a guy who can score like 20 points in the bucket. He kind of sort of has to, but he's also priced up down to 5.5. All right, let's scoot along. Let's move on to the next game. The next one, like a lot of games, it's going to be a lot of if-then stuff, right? There's a lot of if-thens for the Pacers and the T-Wolves. T-Wolves, one of the hottest teams in basketball. I believe they won, I want to say 8 in a row. 228.5 is the total. Minnesota is an 8-point favorite here. Pacers, again, their starting lineup is essentially questionable. Well, we know Pascal is out, so no Pascal Siakam out for personal reasons. This is the first game I think he's missed as far as being a part of Indiana. He never really missed games with Toronto either, to my memory. Miles Turner is questionable. Naismith is questionable. Halliburton's questionable. It's really tough to say. Obviously, if all these guys are in, nothing really that sexy. If they're all out, all of a sudden we're talking the likes of T.J. McConnell and maybe Jarris Walker, depending on who will draw the start. Obi Toppin could be interesting as well. Minnesota, they are fully healthy. Anybody that matters is good to go. Just their G League guys are on the injury report, so everybody is good to go for Minnesota. You want to play Ant-Man, have at it. I'm probably not doing it. A lot of it has to do with the Pacers' injuries, but right now, what's the best you can do, Chop, as far as the analysis? Because they're all questionable, most of them.
Yeah, I think for 3,600, Obi Toppin is fine. Don't hate him. He has some upside to his game, so definitely go that route. The rest of the Pacers don't really jump off to me at all. Minnesota probably has the better matchup here in general against that team. So Ant-Man's in play. Randall's okay. I actually like Rudy Gobert a little bit tonight. Now he's hamstrung. He kind of hamstrings you a little bit with the center position and his upside maybe being capped a little bit, but I like this matchup for Gobert since I just started taking my stats now from the last couple of months because the previous 3 or 4 months probably doesn't mean much right now. So since over the last month and a half or so, Indiana's getting destroyed at the rim, and that's the only place Gobert can score is at the rim. So I kind of like Gobert here for 62 to do something, and that's my favorite player in this game.
Yeah, I mean, it's really fluid. You mentioned Toppin. Toppin can be interesting and also helpful for on DK. He's not center only; he's center power forward. If Turner doesn't go, of course, his chances are enhanced. Thomas Bryant is still minimum 3K. He's not very good, but he's a good fantasy player when he gets an opportunity. He's a guy that might mop if this game gets totally ugly. We mentioned Walker. Just going to pay attention to the starting lineup stuff. But that's, in part, one reason why I want to get rid of that first game. Even if we don't know who's in or out, you'll probably get that starting lineup and news right around 7:30 at the latest. So could be vital to the slate. And that's why I'm not going to sit there with Terry Rozier. I know here it's his birthday apparently in the chat. Shout out to Terry Rozier and his birthday, but not something I want to mess with. We probably can move on. That's 2 games down. Neither very eventful just yet, but of course they can change dramatically if the news flow points us in that direction. The 76ers, Chop, they are 16-point dogs against your Rockets. 224 is the total. Bona's out, Drummond's out, Embiid's out. All the tall guys are out. Yabusele's questionable. He's a small 5, but he'll play 5. Kind of more thick than he is tall, right? Paul George, not going to play the rest of the season. They'll tell you that for some reason, but he's not going to play the rest of the year. Maxey is out with his back. Oubre's out. It's an insane list of players. We're currently we have 10, right? They signed Chumo Okeke. He played for him yesterday. Butler, we're projecting to start. Quentin Grimes, Justin Edwards, Ricky Council the 4th, Yabusele. I didn't mention Lonnie Walker the 4th. He's also out. Doughton, Reese, Hood, Shafino. Shafino played a good game the other day for what it's worth. It's, just a stone disaster. We might have a Brissett. It could be really interesting if we happen to lose Yabusele. He's played some small 5 in the past, and Şengün will absolutely work him, but what else are their options? I guess Reese has some height. As far as the Rockets, they're pretty standard, with the exception of Thompson. Nothing new here. Amen's been out for a bit. Reed Shepard's been out for a bit. FDV, Green, Brooks, Jabari, and Şengün are the projected starters. Chop, how do you feel about your Rockets? It's a tricky one because this game is somehow close and Philadelphia hangs around. Man, Şengün should be awesome here, but he's expensive. But nobody's playing the Rockets. And Philadelphia, I guess if Yabusele doesn't play, I kind of like O'Shea Brissett. It sucks. It's so bad. There's still a month left in the season. I don't know. Philadelphia, the way they're whimpering to the finish line, it is so pathetic. But, where are you at as far as the 76ers and the Rockets?
Oh, man. So, I'd start off with Philly and say nobody really catches my eye over there. If I would do anything on Philly, it would be for, somebody in the cheapish range. I just not paying $8,100 for Quentin Grimes tonight. Even though he's returning home, this is his home, Houston. Yeah. So, but 81, man. Nah, I don't see that. I think they'll probably D up on him. He's their only real threat right now, so wouldn't go that route. But for the Rockets, I mean, it's tough. Yes, the 76ers are getting destroyed in the paint because they don't have anybody that can defend down there with Embiid and those guys out. So Şengün theoretically should crush this game from a matchup perspective. But then again, when it comes to Şengün and Jalen Green, sometimes it's Jalen Green when you don't expect it, instead of Şengün. All of a sudden he comes out hot with his 3-pointers, and then he's in there. And then you got all those role players. I might take a shot on one role player. I couldn't tell you right now if it's Jabari going to go for 15 and 10 or if it's going to be another big Tari Eason game, who's kind of found his footing with Amen Thompson out. I wouldn't play a veteran, so I probably would avoid Dylan Brooks or Fred VanVleet, but one of the younger role players is definitely in play here. And I hate to say it, and it probably is a big goose egg, but like the largest to fill GPPs, maybe you could take a shot on one of the Rockets bench guys. I'm throwing the name Cam Whitmore out there, even though he's probably not in the best graces of Ime Udoka, but
5 minutes is current projection right now for what it's worth.
I mean, well, this is assuming that we're going to be looking at a large 25-point game in the fourth quarter. That's why you would play that. And I would think at that point he probably gets some run. And that's probably the only time he gets some run because, there's something going on with his attitude. We're figuring out why he dropped in the draft a little bit, I think. But I think he's worth a GPP flyer, but just the young guys is what I'm sticking with on the Rockets. And pick a star if you want to, Şengün or Green, or pick a role player, Eason or Jabari or somebody like. But I'm not really. Otherwise, certainly not a game stack environment.
I want to point out that Jared Butler is dramatically different as far as the price on FanDuel. He's 5'2" on FanDuel, which is like that's you'd play him in a cash game. Certainly you can play him on DK at 6K. We always talk about it when a player is distinctly less on FanDuel. They're basically going to be a bargain unless they're just really overpriced on DK. But playable on DK, but really good play on FanDuel. We're giving him 30 minutes as of right now. 31 Yabusele, which again, he's questionable. Grimes 31, Council 30, Butler 30, Downton 30. Again, Philly wants to lose. This game should kind of take care of itself. Was Paul George ruled out for the season?
Yeah, they finally ruled him out because they heard you talking.
No, I've said it first.
Heard you talking, so they said he's going to miss the rest of the season.
It's the dumbest thing. Like, oh yeah, he's questionable. Just say he's out, man. What are you doing? Everybody else is out too. We know he's not coming back. They said that he's going to get a second.
He's not coming back like
ever.
Period for Philly. That's it for him.
I think it was a 2-year deal, right? Don't they have one more year?
Yeah, I read they have an ungodly amount of money next year committed to Embiid and Paul George. It's crazy.
They didn't have to extend Embiid. They chose to extend Embiid. Like, they had time. They could have waited. And they said, yeah, let's get it out of the way.
Daryl Morey couldn't happen to a better guy.
Oh, boy. Mitchell saying Maxey is next. Yeah. I mean, I think he's dealing with a finger. Is that what they're saying he's got? Not that he would be enough to keep the season alive, but there's no reason they should keep playing him either. Obviously, just make something up. I like Toronto. They don't even like try to make stuff. The Jakob Poeltl's resting. Like, the most well-rested man in America is Jakob Poeltl. That dude plays 12 minutes, rests, plays 12 minutes, rests. He's well-rested. Good for him. All right. Anything else as far as Houston and Philly?
No, but we need clue 2, brother.
Yes. The second clue for today's Movie Monday is CIA. CIA is the second clue, Chop. Chop's guess, by the way, was Slumdog Millionaire, and it was not correct. Just to let you, it's another movie you can cross off. It's not Slumdog Millionaire, and it's not the Netflix Electric State. It's neither of those two. So feel free to go elsewhere. All right. Next up on the slate, another 8 o'clock game, Detroit and the Pelicans. The Pelicans, another team wanting to hit that sim button on the season. Officially eliminated, the second team eliminated in the Western Conference as far as the playoffs. Like, it was inevitable, obviously. 234 is the total. They're 6-point dogs here at home versus the Pistons. Detroit, as far as Detroit, who's in and who's out. I think it's the standard, like, nothing new, right? Yeah. Just Jaden Ivey and a bunch of dudes nobody really acknowledges. Nothing's changed for Detroit in a while. New Orleans, Herb is out. Kelly O on St. Patrick's Day, they gave him a finger. They've rested him too a couple times. Can't play Kelly Olynyk. He's too good, I guess. Zion is questionable for personal reasons. He was out last game for personal reasons as well. Yves Missy's got an ankle, so they could be without several bigs, all 3 bigs. Zion, Kelly O, and Misi, they're 3, 4, 5. This is a stay tuned, but Makovich would be the benefactor, I suppose. New Orleans is horrific defensively. Duran probably takes advantage of if it's Kelly O, and you kind of want Misi in there because he's bad. Kelly O's bad too. Duran projects really good. Cade looks awesome. I was writing about this today, Chop. This time of year, there's a certain value to knowing a team is trying, to knowing a team is going to play their best players. And Detroit, shout out to them, they're trying, and they're trying to make moves in, as far as jockeying for position in the playoffs. If you pull up the standings in the Eastern Conference, they're currently in the 6th spot, and they could theoretically jump up to the 4, probably not the 3, but they're only a game or so behind the 4, and they're not going back. Atlanta's not catching them. Atlanta's in the 7. The 7, 8, 9, 10 it's all determined. It's done. Atlanta, Orlando, Miami, Chicago in some order. But the one part in the Eastern Conference there could be jockeying is 4 through 6. So Detroit is still fully motivated to grab some wins. It seems like a spot where they can get it. If you're looking at the game log stuff, wondering about Cade. Cade was ejected last game. That's why he had minimal minutes. Well, I shouldn't say minimal. I think it was in the 3rd quarter when he got ejected, but not as standard minutes. But as far as big spends go on the slate, there's 2 that I really, really like. Cade is one of them, Chap. How do you feel about the Pistons and the Pels? I know the Pels are in flux. We don't know yet.
Oh man, it's a tough one. It's not a huge spread here, all things considered, and a pretty good total. So I think there's something to it. I don't think I'm gonna be on the New Orleans side of it, but I certainly wouldn't criticize anybody for playing, a Zion or Trey Murphy, or even a cheaper guy like a Yves Messier and all that good stuff. But it's the Detroit side I probably have the most interest in because New Orleans has fallen apart defensively for the most part. Beasley, obviously the 3-pointers, that's his MO. That's really what he does, all he does. And it just so happens he stumbles into a really good matchup here against New Orleans from the 3-point line. So Beasley could get hot and be a GPP boost. Jalen Duran, again, the New Orleans defense is pretty poor everywhere. And so Duran could get some work in the paint, but he should crush these guys on the boards too. So you got that aspect for Durant. And then the guy who's kind of sits and hovers above everything is Cade Cunningham. He does a little bit of everything against a team that gives up a little bit of everything. So Cade is probably, price considered, might be the best spend up tonight. It's just a bad team he's facing here. So, and the spread says it's going to be close enough. When we're talking about spreads in Vegas and DFS, really all we're worried about is, can I get my final rotation out of my guys? Can I get that last time that they were going to be on the court anyway? Can I get that? All right. The spreads, only 6 kind of indicates that you might just get your last round of minutes from Cade Cunningham. So I like those 3 Detroit guys the most.
Yeah, Cade, again, one of my favorite big spends tonight. Might be in my main lineup, probably going to be my main lineup, if not him. I was trying to figure out how to make a lineup with him and Luka, and I think I can. But I also like somebody else too. It's a little bit expensive, and I'm going to get 2 of those 3. And we'll kind of see how that works. And obviously, so many dominoes left to fall on this slate. But in priority is backloading, right? That's the one. If there's a bad thing about Cade is that he's playing earlier. But I'm okay locking in if he drops 60 or something like that. New Orleans is the worst team in the association as far as the entire season defensive rating. They give up like the 3rd or 4th most assists as well. Cade averages 35 plus minutes a game on the year. Again, they're motivated. They're still playing their guys. This is an island game. Didn't play yesterday, not playing tomorrow. Chop your guess of Mission Impossible is not correct. I'll say this. It's none of the Mission Impossibles. That wipes them all out. None of the Mission Impossibles. Let's see. In the chat, D-Rock is guessing American Made. It's not that. It's not Get Shorty that Coach Wilcox is guessing. Or Argo or Clear and Present Danger. Or the 355. I don't think I know what that is. The Way Back, T. Carter. That's the Ben Affleck basketball movie, right? It's not Hoosiers either. But, all right. Yeah, we'll drop a 3rd clue momentarily. Or Zero Dark 30, which several people have guessed. It's not that. But I see what everybody's doing. I see why everybody's guessing what they're guessing. Hey, Chop, you got any bracket busters for me? Any takes as far as college basketball? You got to have a couple takes. You have any bets you put in? Or I guess you know a guy? And they're in Texas.
Oh, I mean, I haven't really put the bracket together yet, but well, I mean, it's only Monday. I'm kind of just there's actually quite a bit of injury news this year going into the tournament that you need to be aware of. So I'm just I think it'd be a little bit premature. I want to at least give it another day. We're waiting on to make sure Cooper Flagg is good for Duke. Waiting on some Alabama news. They lost Grant Nelson at the end of the tournament. We'll see if he plays. That's a big part of their game. Texas Tech has a couple guys who sat out the last couple of games of the tournament. There's a lot going on there, so I haven't really pieced it together. But, I mean, Dean, I have looked at it a little bit. It's tough to get away from – this year it's tough to get away from those top 4 teams. One of those top 4 teams is going to win this thing. It's just not going to be like – just the upset thing is just not going to happen this year.
If there's tiers, there's like 4 teams that are basically the same, and there's a big drop-off?
I think there is. I think Auburn, Florida, Duke, assuming Flagg is healthy, and Houston are a cut above the rest. I would probably rank Duke the lowest on that in that scale, just because of the flag news and because they're really young anyway. So I don't know how they're going to handle this and the weak competition all year long. But the numbers say they're really good. Then you've got a group of teams after that that are fine, all of which could win several games. But I just don't think when it comes down to it, any of the other teams can beat Auburn, Florida, or a healthy Duke. Hopefully Houston is healthy. And so I just think one of those big teams is going to win it, but it's just going to be about, who's going to come in and make it to the Elite Eight out of nowhere. That's going to win your brackets, and I'm still kind of working on that. That could go a million different ways.
Let's go ahead and drop a poll in the chat. Will the tournament winner be a 1 seed? Yes or no? Will it be a 1 seed? Yes or no? Somebody was asking me to repeat the clues, Sylvester. They are scrolling. I will repeat them, but they're always scrolling on the bottom of the screen. Clue number 1 is 5. Clue number 2 is CIA. We'll drop that third clue in a second. By the way, speaking of which, Chop, if you're doing such thing, if you're dabbling in the March Madness streets, the Shot Quality team, they've cooked up something special for the NCAA tournament. March Madness Primer. It's a comprehensive betting guide with actionable insight for all 68 teams. The primer is powered by Shot Quality data, includes features like player profiles, rankings, and key metrics, live betting charts, amongst other things. Every purchase of your monthly or annual Shot Quality sub, it comes with a complimentary primer. The data and analysis would normally cost $39 and change, but you're getting it free when you sign up. All right. Speaking of signing up, we talked about baseball. Baseball right around the corner. Officially starting tomorrow. Only 2 teams, obviously. They got to get back, and everybody else is still spring training. But Combo Pro football, baseball, basketball, hockey, NCAA, NFL, MMA, PGA, everything with the exception of NASCAR. You can get it your first month of Combo Pro. All the bells, all the whistles, $79 and change. So, yeah, if you're doing stuff a la carte, that's just $15 more if you're doing PGA a la carte, if you're doing basketball a la carte. So if you're playing multiple sports, that is the route you want to go. And that's what we're giving away, a week free of premium. Give you a taste. The third clue, you can win yourself some premium. Tell me what movie I'm talking about. Do it in the Discord. The third clue, Chop, is hot. Hot. 5, CIA, and hot. That is our third clue. And I see some guesses coming in. We'll go ahead and jump to the Bulls and the Jazz. This is a weird game because like every other game is before 8 o'clock or after 10 o'clock, 10 o'clock beyond. This one's right smack in the middle. The Bulls. And I think it's the biggest total on the board, 240.5. That looks like the biggest total on the board. They are favored because the Jazz are doing everything they can possible to lose. They are 6-point dogs here, Utah. Shout out to Utah, who's lost 9 in a row, and they are number 1 in the tankathon spot. They overtook Washington, who has inexplicably won 6 of their last 10. I believe they beat Denver too on that on a walk-off, which again I love when they celebrate and the owners are furious. But the Bulls and the Jazz, 9 o'clock on the East Coast. Let's talk about the body parts. Who's in? Who's out? Lonzo out. DeSumo's out for the season. Giddey, we're assuming he's out, officially doubtful. Kobe White officially probable. He's got that toe, but he's expected to play with it. John Collins, they gave him an ankle. They gave Keontae George a foot. Those guys are both. Collins out. George is questionable. Clarkson, they're giving him plantar fasciitis. He's questionable. Markkanen, they gave him an ankle. Oh, his back is fine, I guess. Now it's just an ankle. Okay. Steve McCaleb's got a foot. He's questionable. Colin Sexton, he's out with an ankle. KJ Martin also out with an elbow. We did see the shenanigans the other day where Walker Kessler wasn't even, he was not on the injury report, did not start, and was just a DNP-CD, but, they're just playing games. It turns out finding him at that $100,000 didn't work, Chop. That was not a big enough threat to the possibility of getting, having your franchise become like $200 million richer if they can get Cooper Flag, whatever it is. Yeah, it's not a big enough penalty for them to knock it off. Bulls, Jazz, what do you got here, Chop? If nothing else, we like some of the Bulls here, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to play any Utah guys, even though it's not a terrible matchup for them, but it just doesn't feel like, again, we've talked about this on the last show. The prices are up and they're appropriate, and There's not a lot of meat left on that bone. Chicago gets the good matchup here. Herders are fairly decent value play if you want to go that route. Vooch is always a threat if you want to go that route. But clearly Kobe White to me, who comes with a good deal of ownership tonight, but I think
it's like the highest price tag ever on him too.
78. Let me see.
Has he ever been as high as he is right now?
I mean, at some point in his career, maybe. It's not
I'm
this
not saying
season.
It's not justified, but
yeah, not this season.
Higher than 7-8?
I mean, I can't remember previous seasons, but clearly though, man, this is such a good matchup for him. I can see why, and I don't mind the price tag. The ownership doesn't mind the price tag. The field doesn't mind the price tag. I'd hate to be underweight on him just because spread says maybe a semi-competitive game, and Chicago's still giving it their best shot and still trying to win, and they've got all the injuries, and then he's going to come in here and face off against a team that they've overtaken. We talk about this stuff all the time, but they've overtaken everybody in the NBA now as the team that gives up the most production from the three-point line. And he's their best. He's their highest volume three-point. I don't know if he's their best three-point shooter, but he's their highest volume three-point shooter. Kobe White is. Theoretically, he should come with some, Oh, and he's got the number one DVA, defense versus archetype, maybe because of all the things I've mentioned. So a lot going his way tonight. He's under 8K. I got a feeling he'll be on my lineup, and that's my favorite player in the game.
I like White plenty, but I'm more likely probably just because of salary, just lineup construction, to play Red Velvet, Kevin Huerter, or Trey Jones. I'm going to have at least one of those, I would imagine, in every lineup I make. I don't know if I'd play all three, but I'll play two of White, Jones, Huerter. They're all projected to play 32 minutes or more. Vuk is a down price, and he's not been good since coming back, and his minutes have not been completely full. We're giving him 29. But at 7-3, that projects really well. The tricky thing is, I don't know if this makes my decision for sure, but I'd like him a lot more if he was playing against Filipowski. Kessler is such a good defender in comparison to Filipowski. Filipowski is like the worst center, worst offensive center in the league, essentially. Kessler, as of right now, not on the injury report. But again, we've seen a game where he was not on the injury report, was not starting, and did not play. How much shenanigans is Utah willing to pull? How much are they willing to push it? But as of right now, we have to assume that Kessler's playing, but we could certainly get rug pulled here. If that happens, I like Vuk a lot more. Anything else that we should mention here? The Utah stuff, as of right now, they have a bunch of bodies, but probably some go away. I know it was only mentioned in chat that it's a Lauri Markkanen revenge game. His 17th revenge game against the Bulls, or whatever number he would be on now. Actually, hasn't been that long. George is also questionable. He's a guy that plays a bunch of minutes, and Sexton's already out, so Collier can play a lot. Of course, the prices have adjusted. Svi, you only consider him if he starts somehow. He gets a lot of DMP CDs. I have nothing else here as far as Chicago, Utah. How about yourself?
Check my guess and moving on.
All right, Chop guessed Predator.
I guess that ain't it then, or you wouldn't be saying it like that.
Gray Bill is guessing The Hunt for Red October. It is not that. It is not Tinker, Tailor, Soldier Spy, or True Lies, or Red Storm Rising. I don't think I know what that is. It's not Blow that Ramazan is guessing. Or The Sum of All Fears. That's Zira is guessing. But let me drop the fourth clue. It might change some things. We'll see. Stay tuned. We have 4 games left, Chop, about a half hour or so until crunch time comes in. So plenty of time to 5. That's some bad math, right? 5. We're at the 5-game mark. Yeah, Memphis and Sacramento. This is the spot where we have 10 o'clock games. All these games start 10 o'clock or later. 237.5 is the total. Sacramento is a 3-point favorite versus the Grizz. Who's in, who's out? Sante Alaba is officially doubtful for Memphis. They sent J.J. Jackson to the G League. They gave him a boot. John Morant was ruled out really early last night. He's had a shoulder issue. Now they're saying a hamstring. He's just every single game. It's something with that guy, it seems. He's dealing with a hammy, so he's out. And Scottie Pippen, who would benefit if he sticks around, he's also questionable with his wrist. If he doesn't go, Kennard looks awesome to me. I feel like playing one of those two, and again, just kind of backloading stuff and just kind of figuring things out. And you got to stick around. You can't check out. You got to be around at 9:50, checking out the old lineup HQs, checking out the news and seeing who's in, who's out. But for Sacramento, they are clean with the exception of Trey Lyles, questionable. That doesn't really matter. With Sabonis being back and Valanciunas being there as well. Not that you're playing Valanciunas, the worst point per dollar play probably on the slate when Sabonis is healthy. Kelly O on St. Patty's Day is available. Yves Missi is available for New Orleans. Are we going to get Zion now? Are we going to get Zion? We're not. Okay. I figured we're going to get Zion, but maybe not. He still is questionable for with personal issue. All right, Chop, Memphis, take it on Sacramento. What do you got?
What a great game. Great game. Finally, we get a great game where two teams are both trying to win to improve their playoff positioning in some way, shape, or form. So I think this is a fantastic game to target in general. But Sabonis came back. He was good. He's going to be a good player moving forward. I'm a little bit worried about the matchup here. Maybe if Jaren Jackson is healthy and playing, makes it for a tough day at the rim for Sabonis, but he's there. I do like DeMar DeRozan. He's expensive. I like him more for props. I'm not going to take him in DFS because he doesn't do enough. But prop-wise, if you're looking for just pure points, raw points, I think DeRozan's props are nice because this is kind of what Memphis does. Jaren Jackson can protect the rim, and they're going to allow you to get up in that middle of the court, mid-range type of game. And we all know DeRozan's a mid-range assassin, but that's more for props, not really for DFS. Levine and Monk and those guys are all fine in their own way, but they're too expensive for me to play in DFS, so not really worried about that side of it. Memphis side, Jaren Jackson's my favorite play over there, 8,400. It's just a really solid matchup against Sacramento, who just giving up a lot these days defensively. And he can do it from anywhere on the court and stuff the sheet everywhere, defensive stats, rebounding, threes at the rim, whatever. Jaren Jackson, he's the guy. The rest of it is a little bit shifty. I don't know. Well, I guess we'll see on Scottie Pippen, and how that all plays out. But Jaren Jackson is my favorite player from the game. DeMar DeRozan points is my favorite prop. I think there is a realm in which you can fade a lot of the earlier games and stack something like this and hope you hit the right combination, because this is a high total and a tight spread and two teams that are going to try and win this game and play their players out. So it's good for a game stack.
Memphis has 43 wins. They're currently in the 4 spot in the West. Houston's got 43 wins. They're in the 2. Denver's got 43 wins. They're in the 3. So that is the battle in the West, right? The Lakers are right there in the 5 spot with 41. Golden State 39. Even Minnesota is right there as well. So 2 through 7, even 8, you can extend it to the Clippers. 2 through 8 is really, really tight. These teams don't want to fall out of the 6. That's probably not going to happen. But only 3 games or so at Minnesota. Minnesota's been, 8 games in a row they've won, right? So it's possible that these things can shake up. Like you said, they're motivated teams to win. Sacramento, well, Sacramento's they're jockeying for position as far as the play-in stuff, but they're basically playing right now for determining who's going to, if they're going to host Dallas or if Dallas is going to host them. And I guess it's possible Phoenix can creep in there, but they have been horrendous, just terrible. They're only a couple of games behind Dallas, and we know Dallas is trouble.
I mean, Dean, that's just the most crazy thing. Phoenix doesn't even want to make the playoffs.
No,
the players don't even want. The players are giving up, but Dallas is so. Did you read the whole Dallas thing where they're in such a bind that's? I mean, I know it's probably hyperbole, but they were in such a bind with their players and their injuries and the contracts and all that they might not. That if some other things happen to them, they may have to forfeit games that they're so like
They've used up too many. Their two-way
Yeah.
players have used up too many of their games. I don't know all the ins and the outs of it.
So
The two-way
Phoenix is
players can only play so many games, and
going to get in because Dallas just is on fumes, man. But Phoenix players,
they don't want to get in.
They don't want to get in. They don't care. They've given up on this thing. But how can you not overtake Dallas at this point? They're going to have a G League team out there, man. It's just so bizarre. But see how it plays out.
I mean, Portland's like 4 games back.
Portland needs to step up their game. Portland may sneak in this whole thing. That'd be interesting. What do we got on the Portland odds, Dean? Pull up the Portland DraftKings odds to make the playoffs. I bet you can get a good number on them right now.
Well, they would just make the 10 spot at best.
Well,
and then they have to win 2 games in the 10 spot.
The play-in. What are the odds to get into the play-in, not necessarily the playoffs?
I'll see what I got for you.
But that's I think that's something that I think they're going to overtake. Dallas for sure has got to be like Dunzo, man. They just don't have anybody left. Phoenix doesn't want to get in there, but they might get in there by default. And Portland's the one that's actually trying, has a little talent, but they're a couple of games back in the loss column. I don't know if they can catch them. So it'd be interesting to see how that all plays out at the end.
I pulled up my Hard Rock app, the only app I have in Florida, and for some reason Portland is not listed. They only list Chicago, Orlando, Atlanta, most of the teams that are in like the 7 through 10, right? But they did not. They didn't even give a number on Portland. I'm sure you can bet it somewhere, but I don't have it. Maybe we can pull up the scores and odds. That'll probably let us know if we're curious enough. I'll circle back on that. But anything else here of note as far as Memphis and Sacramento? I like the Triple J call too, and I'm afraid like I have them like a little bit outside of my prioritization, but I probably shouldn't. But I do like him a good bit.
Did I get it? Check my guess. Did I get it?
It's a very good movie.
Oh, come on.
It's a very good movie, but you did not get, man.
God dang it, man. I thought I had it with them clues. Them clues are...
I just realized, producer Steve dropped the every once in a while, like he realizes we're a little bit behind on time, and it's a good job by Steve producing. He just drops the clue and has it scrolling. I didn't announce it, but the fourth clue is daughter is the fourth clue. Daughter is our fourth clue, and we do have a winner in the live stream chat channel, but we'll still play it out with one more guess to go. Chop, I think you're going to get it in the last guess.
Well, I tell you, if I could guess right now, and I haven't seen it, but I do have a guess in mind.
Type it in.
But
yeah, you got it.
God dang it, man! Son of a bitch beat me in chat again.
Well, it's you versus the entire chat. That's hard to win. It's hard to take everybody on. Zion officially game time, by the way, so nothing on Zion. What's weird is, again, like, if it's a personal thing, he's either in the building or he's not, right? I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, it's not injury related. Anyways, we can move on. Love the Triple J call. If we happen to lose Pippen, Kennard looks awesome to me. But let's scoot along. 4 games, Denver and Golden State, back half of the doubleheader on, I believe this is ESPN doubleheader. 238.5 is the total. Denver is a 4.5-point dog. More injuries, more questionable stuff to discuss. Let's go ahead and pull up Denver because Denver is vital. Well, Christian Brown is available. He's got a foot. He's officially probable. Aaron Gordon, he's been dealing with that calf, being in and out of the lineup, mostly out of late. He's questionable. The Joker is officially questionable. He's got an elbow. Jamal Murray, he's got an ankle. He's questionable. Strother is out. And Steph Curry is questionable. Pods is still out with his back. Quentin Post, he's got an ankle, so he's questionable. Again, it's an ESPN game. I'm leaning on the Stars playing in here. It's also the front end of a back-to-back for is it the Warriors? No. Yeah, it's a front end of a back-to-back for the Warriors, the only team in the front end. So sometimes maybe if you want to play, put the hat on, just kind of laying the groundwork for tomorrow. Maybe they take somebody out tomorrow and say, hey, we told you it was questionable yesterday. But what can we do with this, Chop? Because, again, this is why I want to play have some spots remaining and kind of figure it out at 9:30, 10 o'clock.
Okay.
But you tell me, Denver, Golden State, what can we say right now?
This is why you should, if you're multi-rostering tonight, you may want to leave a couple completely blank for the night games because there's a ton of night games, a ton of pivots you can get to, and We've covered 2 night games so far, and they're both probably the 2 most competitive games on the slate, arguably, in terms of both teams wanting to win. That we just covered the one game where both teams want to win. This is another one where both teams are trying to actively win and up their seeding in the playoffs against each other. So you got that for you. I think Jokic is a great spend up in GPPs, getting away from Luka and Cade, and he's expensive. So the ownership is way down. There's no reason why he can't go out there, and his history against Golden State tells you a story that this is not going to be a problematic matchup for him. It really never is. So Jokic is in play. Jamal Murray's in play. Anybody who's healthy for Denver that comes in, they're all fine. I like the competitiveness of this game. Draymond Green is going to get ownership because he's getting a pretty good projection at a pretty good price. So if you want to play Draymond, that's fine. He usually, he's not that. He has pretty decent numbers against Denver in his career. Butler, Payton is cheap, projecting for 20+ points. So he's going to get a little bit of run there. I don't know. I just think anybody in this game, if you want to hold off on the night spots, and if value starts dropping at night, and then you can get the value in there and make it easier to get Jokic. I think Jokic is the odds-on favorite to be the raw DK FanDuel points highest scorer of the night. So if you can make it easier on yourself later on and get him in there through value on late scratches, that's a path to winning a GPP.
We have Joker raw points projected about 2 points more than Luka as of right now. Then a drop off to Cunningham, then Cat, and then about 5 points to Şengün as far as raw points stuff. Yeah, if a bunch of guys are out, like Russ is interesting. Even if a couple guys are out, Russ is interesting. He probably starts. If Murray's out, Russ will start. If Gordon's out, Russ probably starts. The thing is, he's kind of fully priced, but he's certainly an interesting piece. If Joker sits, I think he plays, but Jordan's 3K, and
again,
it doesn't feel like a DeAndre Jordan game.
Denver's trying to win games. I know if Jokic sits, it's because it's for a real reason, right? Like they're not just
he wants to play.
I mean, they're trying. They need to win games. Like you don't want to. They're a razor thin margin in the West between having that home court in the first round and a fair matchup, or dropping all the way down and being on the road in the first round with a much tougher matchup. You want to win. You need to win games. And there's a question in chat from Javier. He said, where do you get the 3 cheaps from to play Joker? That's the whole point in keeping all those spots open for late. If I'm going to play Joker, it's because later on in the night, guys got ruled out. And I had the flexibility to play the value at night because guys were ruled out. And that gives me Joker, as opposed to everybody else who's going to take Cade Cunningham at 30+% probably because he's so much cheaper. So, I mean, it's a different angle. That's why I say Joker if you're keeping all those spots open for later on and you get the value plays. And if not, then you can pivot to another there's a lot of great players that start late on the very late games.
Well, Pippen. Pippen's one of those guys, and if Pippen doesn't play, Kennard, or you could still just play Kennard. Herter, we talk about the Bulls, both Herter and Trey Jones are both like really good plays, point per dollar. Williams on Chicago, just I don't know what his upside is, but if he's going to play 25 minutes versus Utah and he's 3.5, 3.6, sure, I guess.
We haven't got to the game, but theoretically, what if the Lakers on a back-to-back?
4th and 5 nights.
What if they don't feel the need to play all their star players tonight, and you can get some more value there? That's why you keep them open. That's the point of that theory is, maybe news drops later that you have no idea is going to happen right now.
But they don't have any questionable guys. They said Luka's in. They said he's probable. DFS probable. Rui out. LeBron, of course, is out. Jameson's out. And Maxi Kleber hasn't played a game for him yet. So I guess it's possible. And they're facing the Spurs. A team that's going in the wrong direction. Absence of Wemby, absence Fox. Spurs have been the worst defense in basketball last 15 games or so. So they probably should be able to win, but they did say those guys are playing. And Did the Lakers win pretty easily yesterday?
I
think they did.
They won by double digits, but I don't know that it was easy in a certain. But I think they had to play their full allotment of minutes though, because it wasn't like a super blowout at the end.
Yeah, just pull up the box score against Phoenix, of course. Yeah, Luka did play 40 minutes. It was an afternoon game, if you want to take that angle as well. So a little bit more time as far as rest, and they also did not travel. But, okay, let's go ahead and let's scoot along. And we're doing the best we can with the information. Maybe we're getting some new stuff coming in at 6:30 as far as the 6:30 injury report. Maybe not. I'm seeing nothing as far as news. But, again, there's so much potential stuff that could be coming in. Next game we're going to talk about after Denver and Golden State is Toronto. Toronto and Phoenix. Toronto and Phoenix. All right. The Raptors, the Phoenix is terrible, but this is a game they should. Toronto's going to do their best to give them the victory. They are 9-point dogs here. The Raptors, that is, as far as who's in and who's out in this one. Well, Bradley Beal has been ruled out for Phoenix. No Grayson Allen. And Richards is available, the center for Phoenix. He's officially probable with his ankle. As far as Toronto, they say RJ Barrett is ill, so he's out. No Dick. Dick is out. They gave him a knee, so he's not playing basketball. Jakob Poeltl, again, he's exhausted. He is exhausted. He must rest. Jared Rhoden is not playing basketball, and then Jacoby Walter is out. So as of right now, Quickly and Barnes are projected in. That could change. You never know. Wouldn't surprise me, but I don't know how much minutes. So this is the back half of a back-to-back, so it's kind of surprising that they're projected in. But that's where we're at right now. And we've seen – I don't know how you project the minutes for Toronto because a lot of it's based upon how the game's going. If guys are playing too good, they get kicked off the court. It's really clear. And then there's Phoenix. We just talked about how terrible they've been, but this is a great matchup where, a get-right game, if you will, if they want to get right. Booker and Durant both should be able to do their thing against this Raptors team. Tyus Jones, another one of those cheapies, by the way, it's projecting really well. We're not currently projecting the start, it seems like, but even in mid-20s minutes against Toronto, looks pretty good. How you feeling about the Raptors and the Suns?
Yeah, this is the litmus test right here. If Phoenix loses this game, put your mortgage on them not making the playoffs or the play-in or the playoffs. Yeah, because there's no way, even if they made the play-in, there's no way they would win 2 games in a row because if they can't win this game. But yeah, it's interesting, man. It's theoretically a pretty good matchup for both offenses. Phoenix doesn't play defense these days. They're giving up everything so easy everywhere that whoever's going to be in there and get minutes for Toronto should be in good shape. The problem is that they're also tanking, and we're getting a little bit of reduction on some of these guys' minutes and not getting full rotation. So I don't know. I don't know where you want to go for Toronto. You're taking a chance on them. But for Phoenix, for Phoenix, you take a shot, man. You got to take a shot on Booker or Durant, and it's just a good matchup for them, and hope that they pay off. I don't know that. Oh man, I don't know. 4,300 for Tyus Jones. It's a pretty good price. Had some pretty good games over the last 3 or 4 weeks. If that's a piece of value late at night that you want to put in there, that's fine. But yeah, I think I'd stick to just the scope of this game is so ugly. We don't know where these teams are mentally or with the minutes. That I think I'm sticking either Booker or Durant to have a big game. Nothing more, nothing less in this game. It's not a good game.
Svi Mikhailiuk is ruled out with his foot for Utah. You can't have Svi Mikhailiuk play. Come on. He's too good. By the way, I don't want to actually you, and this is surprising, and it's really hard to say on a given game. Last 10 games, Chop. Last 10 games.
Oh,
best
no, don't do it.
defensive rating in basketball.
No.
Toronto Raptors.
No, okay. I'd like to dig into that somehow on my own time. I'd like to figure out why that is, but it just sounds off. But
I don't totally believe it either. I'm just telling you that's the numbers say. Defensive rating, they are number 1 at 108.2. Just of note. And by the way, you're giving 30 minutes to Tyus Jones as of right now. So,
well, I mean, I did pull up some of their games recently, and
cupcakes.
I mean, they're playing the other teams at Utah, Philly, Washington, Utah. Yeah, they're kind of playing a lot of other teams recently that are also trying to tank. But yeah, I mean, we know Phoenix though. Phoenix is just completely given up on defense. So I just wish we had some more stable minutes for Toronto players.
All right, 2 games to go. But the 5th clue for Movie Monday is skills. Skills was the 5th clue. We'll explain that after we talk about Washington and Portland. If you're not yet pieced it together, if you're not in the Discord channel, I do want to shout out today's winner. Who was today's winner? Ramazan. Ramazan took down today's Movie Monday. All right. One of my favorite plays is in this game. Portland, the Blazers, 231.5 is a total. Portland's a 6-point favorite against the Wiz. Who's in, who's out for this one? Well, we know that Bilal Coulibaly, I guess they haven't officially said he's out for the season, but they said he's out for 6 weeks, so 4 to 6 weeks. He's not playing the rest of the year. Best defender for Washington as well. No Corey Kispert. Marcus Smart is officially questionable with a non-COVID illness. Sadiq Bey is out. Brogdon, of course, is out. Portland's DeAndre Ayton, another guy we might not see the rest of the season. Probably not. He's out with a calf. Kamara, that's kind of a big deal. He's a midday downgrade, questionable with a calf. Jeremy Grant, who just doesn't play games end of the season, is officially doubtful. Robert Williams is out. We've seen Klingon play 3 straight games now of 30-plus minutes. First time around I think it was First Blood, revenge game for Denny Avdia. A lot of us were on it that night. And he got hurt. Chop. He was out for like 6 minutes or so. This is his second chance to get revenge. Awesome matchup. Again, no Coulibaly as well. Avdia is one of my favorite plays on the board. Shenpenny looks really good for Washington. He's been benefiting from the absence of Coulibaly. We saw Sarr really get loose last game against Joker, but he's been priced up as well. I think there's some interesting value pieces here. Shenpenny and Klingon. We just got an update for Lineup HQ. We'll give that a refresh as well. But your thoughts, the Wizards and the Blazers.
Yep. Kind of in the same boat there. Avia is a good play. The revenge factor, the price tag is fantastic on DraftKings, and it's going to come with ownership, but that's okay. You say Avia, I say Klingon. I'm not saying Klingon is going to be my Plum's play of the night later on when you ask, but man, this guy can be like a point, like fantasy point per minute kind of, he's a god, man, when it comes to that, when he can stay out of foul trouble. And if you're going to give him 30 minutes against a weak team at 5,800, yeah, he's going to crush it. I got Klingon as, Washington. Let me see here. Let me pull this up for the year. Yeah, the worst rebounding team, or the team that gives up the most rebounds in the NBA. Klingon is a great rebounder. He can block shots. He can get it done without having to score, but it just so happens he should be able to score a little bit in this game. So I love Klingon as much as you love Avia, and this team is trying to win, and they're trying to do these things. They're trying to make the playoffs. So I think it's a great spot for these guys. I wouldn't hate you if you wanted to go GPP Simons or GPP Scoot Henderson, or even Shaedon Sharp. Does he have he had a good, number 1 defense versus archetype for his style of play. So he's a good play. Washington, I'm not as much on, but if you wanted to run it back with any of those guys, they're all capable of, Poole or Sarr is capable of getting hot and helping you on the run back. But boy, those Washington guys, or those Portland guys, really stand out to me. Klingon 1, Avia 2. I think they make for a great pairing.
So we just got the Pacers stuff. Naismith out, Turner out, Halliburton out. Oh boy. By God, is that TJ McConnell's music possibly? Is that Obi Toppin's music? We're going to be playing some Pacers. And also, like, if you're quick enough, Minnesota -8, probably going bye-bye really, really quick, because everybody out for the Pacers, right? Is that every starter? Or is there one still standing? They're just like taking the L here, it seems like. Matherin's going to project well. I assume McConnell, if we don't do it because Crunch Time's coming on in about 5 minutes or so, they're going to give you the update with the Pacers, but they're going to look good, but they're also going to be expected to probably take a beating. Maybe that line goes to 11 or 12, possibly more. I just see TJ in chat saying Obi top and lock, especially when he's power forward eligible, is certainly useful on DK. Okay. By the way, movie Monday. Let's go and explain it real quick. Five. Chop. I don't know if you know what 5 was. It was in reference to the title of the movie. There's a candy bar called a Take 5. You ever have a Take 5? Are you aware of the existence of a Take 5?
Never heard of it.
Oh, there's like 5 different ingredients in it. I think there's a pretzel, maybe some chocolate, caramel, possibly. It's been a while. Clue number 2 is CIA. The main character in this movie is ex-CIA. 3 is another play in the title, Hot. You watch a lot of First Take. I know that's right. That's on your DVR for sure. On First Take, they give a lot of hot takes. Take 5, hot take. In this movie, a daughter was taken. And, of course, the 5th clue was skills. Our hero, an Irishman, Liam Neeson. I had to have some kind of a St. Paddy's Day reference. Liam Neeson is the star of this film. Of course, he has a very particular set of skills. We're talking about Taken. All right. The last one, we kind of talked about this already, but we can touch on it some more. It is the Lakers. The Lakers taking on the Spurs. They're 10-point favorites. 230 is the total. They told us it's a back half of a back-to-back. It's 4-5 for the team, but most of these players did not play all of those games. There you go, Peter Griffin. Nicely done. Producer Steve on top of things. Luka looks amazing here. We talked about last 10 games, Chop. Remember we said last 10 games? Some of the stuff can lie to you, right? Toronto's the best defense by far, by over 4 points. The Spurs are the worst defense in basketball. Luka should absolutely smash here. Of course, we know his rates shoot up in the absence of LeBron. It's just a matter of finding salary, but I think you can. I love Luka tonight. I love Cunningham. I'm trying to find a way to get them both. I don't know. We'll see. Stay tuned. Well, I guess we can now with the Pacers. Then we're all going to have the same lineup. I haven't made anything just yet, but all the cheap Pacers will make life easier for us. But I didn't give you the entirety as far as who's in, who's out. I didn't tell you the San Antonio stuff. Charles Bassey out, of course. Fox out, done for the year. Wemby done for the year. Everybody else of note doesn't really matter. Branham is out, but again, doesn't really reflect on things. Castle, an interesting run back. He's, of course, getting more usage these days. And Vassell of note. And then maybe Keldon Johnson in play, I suppose. And we've said for the Lakers, no Rui, no LeBron, no Jamison, no Cleaver. How about you prioritizing Luka? Your thoughts for the Spurs and the Lake Show?
I'm not really prioritizing Luka all that much. I think for the price tags, I'd probably rather get to Jokic tonight, if we're being honest. He's a bit more expensive, but he's going to come at much lower ownership. I think a more competitive game and more ceiling. So Luka's great, but I think I'd rather have Jokic. So I'm not really prioritizing that. I'm not prioritizing Austin Reeves at that price tag either. 8,900 is a bit much. Maybe if I wanted to get some cheaper Lakers in there, that's fine. But yeah, I don't want to spend up too much on them. The Spurs, Castle's been great. Could roll with Castle here, and that's really. I'm not really feeling a whole lot of Spurs either, man. I don't know, man. This game didn't jump off to me. So unless we get some more news on something big, I don't feel great about this game. I don't think I need to prioritize it. I feel much better about some of these other games in that late window that we've already talked about. But obviously, these guys are all. I mean, Luka could go for 70 or 80 tonight. That wouldn't be a big shock. But I just prefer Jokic. I even prefer Cade Cunningham for the savings over Doncic. So it's just where I'm in Reeves. I just can't get to it. So I don't know, man. Not as in love with it as you would think, considering it's two really bad defensive teams.
Click on refresh for your lineup HQ. Yeah, the Pacers are starting to hit some stuff. I'm seeing some lineups on DK with 4 Pacers, some with 3, some with 2. But yeah, you're going to get some Pacers. Probably at least 2 for me. I don't know if I'm going to go beyond that because I want to save some spots, but at least 2 Pacers. It's a tricky thing because they're playing early, right? There's a 7:30 game, but otherwise they're in the 8 o'clock block. And we'll get that starting lineup. It looks like, are we projecting Bryant to start? Giving a refresh to, yeah. So we're projecting Nembhard, Shepherd, Mathurin, Toppin, and Bryant. Wouldn't shock me if Walker stuck in there. And by the way, Bryant's going to get worked. Like, he's not very good, but he's a good fantasy point per minute player, like pretty solid, and he's 3K. So I understand why he's hitting stuff and might be a tough. Even if this game gets ugly, he might. Well, I mean, they have bigs, right? They have James Johnson on the roster. Tony Bradley did not know he was in the Pacers. Has that been like that all season? Is that the guy who used to play with the Jazz? I think that's who it is. Yeah. So Pacers are going to be popular. You have a thought on that, Chop, as the crunch time's coming in there momentarily, but any opinion as far as how much Pacers is too much Pacers?
In GPPs, I don't really like to go with more than 3 players from the same team in GPPs, and so that even pertains to game stacking. I want a 3-2 or at worst a 3-3. I don't know. I don't really. Yeah, I don't want to go with like 4 players from the same team.
I think I'm willing to go 3 just because they're so cheap. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, obviously figuring this out on the fly, but I know projections are liking them too. Let me see if FanDuel's basically the same thing. I was DK before, but saying it's Luka Garza day in chat. That's, you're really going to tell yourself a story on Luka Garza. He's projected to play 1 minute. Like, obviously he would mop if things got really ugly, but it's a 10-game slate. 20 points that's not going to do it for you. You're going to need more than that. So, which you can get 20 points, sure. Bryant and Mathurin are hitting stuff on FanDuel. Nobody in Nembhard is getting some, but is McConnell not a good price on FanDuel? How much is McConnell? 5-1. Okay, he's playable, but he's not really smashing anything. Okay. I think I'm willing to play 3 Pacers, even if I don't run it back with Minnesota, but you can. But that game should what's the line? Did we get a big jump in that line?
Yeah, I'm not sure I'd be running it back with anybody. They're just value plays at this point.
It's it opened at Minnesota -3, and now it's 10.5.
That's going to be a blowout.
It still seems kind of low. Minnesota's been hot. They won 8 in a row.
It's a massive jump, Dean.
I still kind of like Minnesota, but
yeah.
Rockets opened at a 13-point favorite. Now they're 16.5. There's a lot of big spreads here on this slate. Chop, you want to give me the player that's going to be breaking the slates? Give me one high and one low. How about that?
Oh man, well you threw your monkey wrench.
Hey, that's you got to go with the flow, man. That's how this slate is right now.
All right. Well, the low the guy I was gonna go is low anyway. So with the late news, people are gonna go with some of these other players on the Pacers. I'm gonna go Benedict Mathurin. I still think he kind of flies a little bit under the radar. Ownership wise, yeah, he could crush here at this price tag. High range, I'll try to get a little bit less chalky here. So it's going to be Şengün with 25 points and 15 rebounds and in a just whitewash Phillies inside. They can't handle him.
Yeah, they're a bad rebounding team as is, and they're missing a bunch of their tall guys. There's a chance Yabusele doesn't play as well. By the way, Mathurin, I think this is going to, you understand the ownership stuff has not changed. He's going to be – I think Mathurin's going to be one of those popular plays in the slate.
You think he is?
Yeah.
I kind of thought Obi Toppin was going to be the guy that is going to jump to all the ownership now.
It's interesting. Our Toppin projection is –
I think McConnell.
Not huge?
It was – wait a minute. Before that news even broke, Toppin I had in the 20% range.
We got him at like 23 points, which seems a little low to me. But hey, look, maybe they're still adjusting and still tinkering. But
before the news broke, I had Toppin aggregated at around 20% and Matherin at 2%. So I think Toppin's going to be the more popular by wide margin. Now TJ McConnell's going to get a lot of love too. I think Matherin may not fly under the radar, but definitely not super popular.
And a lot will matter on the lineup too, I'd imagine, right? If Bryant starts at 3K, like it's going to be hard not to play him. Or if Walker starts, he could at 3K. I think he's pretty interesting too. They still have enough guys. But yeah.
Dean, wait.
What do you got?
King of the Juggalo Nation needs to rise up. Kirkdiese has made it. He is available. He is here.
Was he questionable? I didn't know. Was he questionable at some point?
Well, behind the scenes, it looks like he was running a little bit late, but he was just trying to make his Juggalo entrance a little bit late. No big deal.
Does Kirkwood know what time he's supposed to be here? Because I feel I'm not, pointing fingers or anything, but it feels like if you tell me one person's not here just yet from crunch time, I pull up the DK Sportsbook or the FanDuel Sportsbook, there's going to be a heavy favorite. Okay, let's go ahead. Let's bring in crunch time. We have Kirkwood. We have Roth. We have Bobby Gomes. Let's do it. Crunch time right now. We're fully assembled.
This just takes me back to last week when Chop said that Roth was really upset that I wasn't there yet, and just lies, pure lies.
What?
My fellow coworkers.
Now, mad that day. Roth
was
human behind the scenes.
I was ready to fight.
Yeah, man.
Roth is like, he would read me right now, but like he would, you didn't learn your lesson from last week. But
the problem was my camera wasn't registering, so it was coming through my laptop. So I had to restart something.
Fair enough. Roth is a festive. That's not a coincidence, I'm sure, with the jersey. And I think, Roth, I believe you're allowed. Yeah. You allot yourself 1 or 2 days. I think Monday's one of your days.
Yeah. So,
you're in a good mood today, I imagine.
Yeah. Well, this is my first beer, but it's going to go down smooth here. Happy St. Patty's Day to all. Likewise.
To Kelly Olynyk, and Liam Neeson and all those that partake. Chop, anything else before you step aside and get out of your make way for Crunch Time? Crunch Time has a lot to dive into. The 10 gamers, probably some more news dropping. Of course, the Pacers stuff that's going to be massive for the slate just dropped on us. They'll figure it out. They'll sort through it. They'll go position by position, FanDuel and DK. Chop, I think we did our work though, right?
Yeah, we did what we needed to do. But I haven't seen Bobby Gomes on the show in a while. He's looking like he might be on that Ozempic. Bobby, you on that Ozempic, man? He's looking a little thin in the cheeks, man.
Wow.
I mean, that's a compliment. It means
why can't you do it all natural? And what you're kind of saying
just today, these days you just don't know.
Interesting take from Chop. No, I'm not currently on the Ozempic. I'm going to the gym.
This reminds me.
Yeah, we have
Bobby,
something. Wait,
does Chop have something? Is he hanging out in other people's Sims?
He's hanging out in other
rooms?
Discords. I've seen him in other Discords. That's all I'm saying. Seen him in other Discords.
You want to confirm or deny, Chop?
I mean, I've got plenty of Discords I'm tuned into. That's how you get the breaking news on stuff, Dean.
Yeah, I don't know. Nobody ever invites me. I'm just, feel free. All right, that's Chop. I was Dean. Roth, take it away.
Good stuff, I guess. Welcome to it, ladies and gents. The drill is crunch time. It's two of the sharpest minds in the biz. You got Kirkdiese in the house. What up, man? How are you?
Woo, woo. What up, Juggalo Nation? Happy to be here.
Rise up.
Especially with my boy Bobby Gomes. Just talking to the other day. He's back from Florida. He's with all the paisans in Florida. They do it right. They all go for the winter, and then but he's back.
I don't know, actually. Is that a word that I should know? I don't know what that means.
It means the Italians, Roth. St. Patrick, the Italian.
Okay, thank you. I was
unaware. You guys all celebrate your Irish heritage, but he's really Italian. Just want to.
I didn't know any of these things. I'm learning some stuff today. I got Bobby Gomes in the house as well. Bobby, how are you? And where were you at in Florida? Tiny Hands Nation, by the way, stand up. Chat representing for the Tiny Hands Nation.
Wow, those are some small hands, Roth. Wow.
Tiny little hands.
I was in Fort Lauderdale. Never met Dean in person. Very, very unfortunate, but
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Yeah. I have like 4 ex-girlfriends from Fort Lauderdale. I just was dating Jewish girl after Jewish girl from Fort Lauderdale. I was
Good for
collecting
you.
them like trophies.
Guys, he still keeps track. He's got.
I don't know why. It wasn't intentional. It just happened that way. Guys, let's dive into this slate. We've got 35 minutes until we hit lock. It is a big slate, even though it's a late starting slate. It's a big slate. We've got a lot of games. We got one game that starts at lock. I don't know if we can just punt that and wait for more news, or maybe if we want that game. But let's just go ahead and dive into it. Kirkwood, you want to walk me through, I don't know, if there's super important news or maybe news we're waiting to break?
Well, we just got the dump of the important news, the really important news. So your first question was, can we just skip this first game?
Yeah.
You can. I think that's probably the right strategy. I'm debating on playing some Karl Anthony Towns in this game, but other than that, yeah, you can skip it. And we just got the big news in Indy at Minnesota, so like they just dropped everybody out. So Siakam was already out. Now it's Miles Turner joining him, Aaron Nesmith joining him, and Tyrese Halliburton, and then some other scrubs. But so that's gonna give some guys some boosts, like Thomas Bryant for sure. Mathurin is probably going to be needed to score, and that we may be in play with the tiny hands play of the day again. Yeah. So we'll talk about that. But other than that, another really good game is Chicago at Utah, and Chicago is really thin. You know, the Lonzo Ball already being out, and now Josh Giddey is doubtful. Kobe White is going to play, so he's a good play. Probably like going to see massive usage in this game, and gets like the best matchup you can when Utah, who's like in full tank mode. So we're just waiting on them to pull the plug on Lauri Markkanen and Keontae George and Jordan Clarkson. We'll see. But they've announced a bunch of people out already. Those guys are questionable. So that's a really big spot tonight. And then DraftKings went all the way to the end, and FanDuel didn't. Crazy. So the DraftKings has the Lakers San Antonio game, but FanDuel does not. But we also do have a bunch of Q tags in Denver going to Golden State. Jokic, Murray, Aaron Gordon, also Curry is questionable, but I think I'm acting like most of those guys are going to play, at least the important ones. But Paul Murray is the one that kind of scares me the most.
Okay,
that's about it.
That was a good little rundown. You caught me up. I was listening to half of it, so I feel like I'm half caught up. Thank you. Let's just dive into it. We're starting on FanDuel as per usual. Bobby, you get to lead us off. We like to start at point guard, work our way on down. What are we doing at point on FanDuel?
Yeah, so Jared Butler at 5'2" on FanDuel point guard eligibility. He's probably the top value. Trey Jones at 6'3", shooting guard point guard eligibility. Kirkwood just hit on Kobe White at 7'7", shooting guard, point guard eligibility. Scoot Henderson, 5'6". I think he's somewhat interesting. And Scottie Pippen, 4,700, just coming off a phenomenal game the other night. Got me over the finish line for sure. He was chalky, but he was definitely good chalk. We have him at 5'5". So I think those are like the main guys that I'm thinking about. Andrew Nembhard, I think, might also be in consideration, I would say, for sure at 5'4". I shouldn't have skipped over him. He's currently our best point per dollar play. So that's pretty much the cash game plays. And then from like just a tournament perspective, just looking over it, like I think Cade's fantastic. I think that you can definitely look for Steph Curry, but a 9-1, like Golden State versus Denver. Denver might have a few guys out. I don't really like to pay up for Steph Curry. No one really does. I'm only showing 10% ownership. Kirkwood hit on Kobe White. I think Kobe White's super solid at 7'7" from a tournament perspective at the point guard position. Tyler Hero at 8'4". Maybe if you want to play, like Kirk said, like basically Cat's like the only play that I really want to get to from that first game, but Hero would be the second. Yeah, that's pretty much rounds out point guard for me.
Well done. Kirkwood, your thoughts at point?
Yep. All right. So my favorites are Kobe White for sure. Trey Jones, he's the value play that is going to get a lot of love tonight, and for good reason. He's been playing really well, and like I said, Giddey is out. I mean, that's huge. The amount of just usage in general, just of everything. Giddey, whether he's shooting a three or whether he's racking up assists, getting boards, that's a massive guy being out. So Trey Jones, cheap on most sites, or at least reasonable, and definitely one of the top value plays of the night. And then Nembhard moves up now a bunch. Going to see a boatload of minutes, and they're obviously you're worried about blowout potential. Minnesota is pretty healthy and playing some good basketball, so that's possible. But I think the Pacers can hang in there. So 5,400 Nembhard's good. Also, the tiny hands play of the day. TJ McConnell at 5,100. It's just if he's in play on the slate, he has to be the tiny hands play of the day. So that's just a rule we got to follow. Other guys in that, as far as the studs are concerned, Cade Cunningham is the best, like Bobby was saying. And then we're waiting on news. Like we're waiting. That Scottie Pippen Jr. is a good play on Memphis if he does play. He's questionable. It's kind of, you don't have to worry too much, because if you put a lineup spot with him and he is out, first of all, if he is in, he's a great play. But if he is out, you can just make sure you can just fit Luke Kennard right in. So it's a pretty easy swap there. You save some money. So that's one way to play that. Maybe Scoot Henderson looks pretty good in this Washington-Portland game. That could be pretty fun. But that's about it. And Jared Butler, like Bobby said, yeah.
Did just get some news that Andrew Wiggins is out. Kirkwood, what are your initial thoughts when you hear that?
I was kind of expecting that. I don't think it's a massive situation. I think it's going to be spread out a lot. Of the distribution is going to be spread out a lot. So that doesn't make me like that game that much more anyway. So, you can, Kyle Anderson would be potentially someone that, and he slow-mo. Yeah. And Jaime Jaquez would maybe get a little bit of a boost here, but
he is starting apparently.
Yeah. Jaquez.
Yeah. That's
So he's in play. It's a tough matchup. And they, based on the way they're playing, the Heat do funky things. So, but he's in play.
All right, let's kick it to shooting guard. What are you doing there?
All right, shooting guard. So climbing to the top is Benedict Mathurin. He's 5K. He gets buckets. They're going to need scoring. It's just he's an easy play at that price. He used to be priced much higher. And he's fallen off a little bit, but this is a really a good spot for him. Again, Kobe White, Trey Jones, the same analysis there. Malik Monk and Nembhard, fabulous. Shaden Sharp is shooting guard eligible, also small forward. It's probably less good small forward plays, so I'd probably play him over in that spot, but is playable in both. Ricky Council, Devin Booker, I like as a stud. Anthony Edwards, I like as a stud. If you're playing some indie guys, you may want to just throw Anthony Edwards in there, and it'll probably be pretty strong. But I'll let Bobby take the rest.
Okay, we did get some more news. Also, your boy, the Dancing Bear, Yabusele, is out as well.
Oh, he's out.
And maybe that is a little more interesting.
It is and it isn't. The problem is they're just like divvying up minutes to everybody, and they're in full tank mode. So, and they have a bunch of G Leaguers playing, but if he was in, I would have liked him more if he was in, and I would have liked to play him. But I don't know. Let's see what Bobby says.
Fair enough, Bobby. Let's just kick it to shooting guard. We'll eventually get to big men, but what are you doing at shooting guard, Bobby? Keeping in mind that you're muted right now. Mute count to 1. Yeah.
I have 2 kids, Roth. Another on the way.
I get it, man.
Another on the way, Roth.
You have another on the way?
Yeah, I have another on the way.
Jesus, this
good
kid
Lord.
doesn't
What
stop.
happens in Fort Lauderdale? Rob just basically told us like that's what kind of goes down.
That's what happens. Yeah,
That's what
I get it.
happens. So yeah, I just made my life about as miserable as you could possibly make it for the next 18 years.
Congrats.
Yeah. So from a ceiling perspective, Devin Booker at 9.4. I like him a good bit. I think versus Toronto, like Toronto's a team like we're always looking to target, so that's fine. Kobe White again, 7.7. His usage has really ticked up since Levine left. They're getting Utah. Dean said it on the other show, like another team we're constantly picking on. Desmond Bane at 8.8 versus Sacramento. I might rather pay the 400 for a guy like Anthony Edwards just because Anthony Edwards is a better player, and I just prefer Anthony Edwards most days. We're giving the higher ceiling to Bane, but if I had to pick between the two, it would be Edwards. That kind of rounds out the high-end guys for me. From a point per dollar perspective, Kirkwood hit on it. Mathurin, Nemhard with all this indie value now. Ricky Council at 5K. Trey Jones at 6.3. Kobe White at 7.7 again. Maybe some Malik Beasley at 4.8. Maybe we can go there a little bit. Kirky, his head chopper with the tag earlier.
Yeah, that was it. I saw that too. I was like, man, Chop's really going for it with a 2%.
Yeah, that's pretty much shooting guard for FanDuel for me.
Okay, how about small forward, Bobby?
Small forward. Benedict Mathurin again. Small forward eligibility. We're just hitting these indie guys. Kevin Herter. I think he's had a revival of his somewhat. He's like a professional basketball player. I think that's the tag Dean would give him with Chicago. So he's fine at 5K. Champagny at 5.6, not the San Antonio Champagny, the Washington Champagny who scored 41 points the other night. Almost got me 50K. We can go back to him. Wow. Tamani Kamara at 5.5, Shaedon Sharp at 6.2. Back to Beasley again. That's mainly the floor guys or the value guys. Ceiling guys, Kevin Durant, Booker, Bane, Edwards, Butler, DeRozan, Denny Avdia. I don't say his name correctly. I'm with Chop on this one. I just don't get it. I'm going to get killed in chat, but
no, you just
it's revenge, Roth, and we know how you feel.
Said it correctly, I think.
I do say it correctly. I got killed for saying it incorrectly, like last show. Yeah, that's mainly it. That's mainly it for me.
Okay, Kirkwood, your thoughts on small forward?
Yep. All right. So this is kind of a gross position, which is why we're talking about Kevin Herter. The guy's going to get there. He's going to play a bunch of minutes in the best possible matchup. They give up a ton of threes. They don't really play much defense whatsoever. He's 5K. He's probably going to be fine. I much prefer Benedict Mathurin. You can definitely play them both, but also Champagny, as Bobby said, I had to tag him he's been a value play all day today, listed out. It's just Washington's just so thin as for stars, and he's been playing well since being in the starting lineup for Koulibaly. So like him, I think you can play some Jimmy Butler tonight if you want to. I think DeMar DeRozan is definitely in play. Memphis games are usually pretty good fantasy-wise. Anthony Edwards, Denny Avdia, like him a lot. I think Kamara's. If we don't have I think I'm expecting Kamara to sit. So I'm not really interested there. But what it does do is it makes their defense a lot worse. So it makes some of these Washington guys like Champagny and Keyshawn George a little bit better. So look out for that news. And Booker, Trey Murphy, these are other good studs you can play. Tobias Harris is pretty cheap, probably going to score decently well in a matchup against the Pelicans. And then finally, I'll list Tari Eason. Okay, and it just seems like a Tari Eason's going to smash spot against this like Philly G League lineup. And he just needs minutes. He absolutely is a beast fantasy point per minute. So I like him. He's probably not going to be too popular.
Okay, good call. How about power forward?
Yep. All right. we're going to start it off with wow. So my favorite, I'm a Jaren Jackson Jr. Triple J stan in general, so I always like him, but love him in this matchup with Sacramento. He's my favorite stud there. Alex Reese is popping now for Philly. It's 3,900. Power forward. It's probably not going to kill you. He's going to see minutes, bunch of minutes. Not the best matchup. He's not the best player, but I think he's fine for a value play. Durant, I don't really like Durant. They're talking about injury. He looked awful the other night. He's on a back-to-back. So if you're thinking about playing Durant, just play Booker. This is the way I'm going to play it. And I'm trying to do that with my Yahoo lineup. Durant was going to be the optimal. That's why I might play Cat over him. But we'll see in a sec. Well, I'm going to make that decision while Bobby's doing players in a few minutes, probably. So Avdia, definitely like Avdia at 7,800. Definitely like Trey Murphy. Definitely like Tari Eason again. Those are the guys. You could get up to Bam, a little more interesting now. But yeah, that's about it.
I assume you started by talking about Obi Toppin, right? Or did I miss that?
I didn't. I don't. Yeah. He's cheap, but he's a much better play on DraftKings. He's real cheap. He's 4,400. I didn't get to him, but there's just.
I mean, I'm seeing we've got him at 50% ownership on FanDuel, so I'm assuming you are coming in way under that, or maybe you're only playing one lineup.
Yeah, I just don't think he has a huge minute ceiling. I think he's a good value play. I have him tagged for DraftKings because of the cheaper price, but on FanDuel, if he's going to be that high owned, then no, thank you.
Okay, well, we just updated it. He's at 28% now. It looks like, but still, it's
significant.
Yeah, that's significant. All right,
Bobby, I would probably play Jarace Walker.
Yeah. Okay. Your thoughts on power forward, Bobby?
I like the Walker call, by the way, like just getting off of Toppin. Toppin is the guy at 4.4 who you're going to be looking for in cash. Justin Edwards at 4.1 is going to be another interesting play. Patrick Williams at 4K versus Utah. He's going to be someone you're going to be looking for in cash games. Royce O'Neal. Kirkwood just said it. Jarace Walker, 3.9 on FanDuel. I think that's the interesting tournament pivot too. I'm with Kirky. Good to be aligned. Matas Buzelis. I don't know if I'm saying that name correctly, but at 4.8, we can go to him a little bit. That's mainly like the cash guys. And then for ceiling, I like Kirkwood's call going to Booker over Durant, but at the power forward position, I think Durant has the highest ceiling. Jaren Jackson at 8.3. Sabonis, Jimmy Butler, Zion, Bam. I think those are the main guys. Denny has power forward eligibility. I think those are all like the tournament options.
Okay, let's go to center. What are we doing there?
Yeah, that's center. Thomas Bryant, 4.3K on FD. Think he's in play. Klingon for Portland, 6.1, paying a little bit more, but I think he's a solid point per dollar play. Robinson, 5.4, center for Toronto. Anything cheaper? Cattell Ware. That would mainly be it for me. Then spending up Jokic, Towns in the first game. I think he'd be the best play in the first game. Chopper talked about Sengun at 9.6, like him. Jaren Jackson has center eligibility as well. Sabonis and Bam. That would be the main guys for me. Rothy.
Okay. You butchered Ware's name, and
Yeah.
I only pointed out because you said you butchered someone else's name and got it right, and then you butchered Ware and you didn't even say anything about it. I mean, you butchered it. Real.
All right. It's all right. They're just names.
He was thinking in his defense, he was thinking baseball.
Marte?
Yeah, that's where he was.
Tell Marte
going.
in the head.
Thank you, Kirk. Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate
Kirkwood, what are we doing? By the way, we need the energy. We got to kick up the energy. I'm falling asleep over here. Kirkwood, what are we doing? You heard me. Let's do it. What are we doing in center?
Let's go. So Thomas Bryant is the cheap play of the day now. 4,300, too cheap. Donovan Klingon, if he could score some points, he will really take off because this dude just does nothing but board and pick up blocks and fouls. So if he stays out of foul trouble and can actually score real points, which he hasn't been doing lately, then he will smash. But he's a good play. I like him a lot. Triple J, I love. Joker, I mean, obviously, you always love. I mean, the guy you can just absolutely nuke, especially on a slate where you start getting value like we've been getting. Really like Jalen Durant tonight against New Orleans. And then other guys that I'm kind of lukewarm on are Orlando Robinson, Draymond Green, Şengün, Cat, and that's about it.
Okay. You guys want to make sure you're getting the best deal in the industry, especially if you're playing multiple DFS sports, especially with baseball coming around. For a limited time, get your first month of Combo Pro for $79.99. It's just $15 more than PGA Premium. It's only $5 more than the NBA Premium. It really is a fantastic deal. Make sure you are taking advantage of it. This read says playing multiple DFS sports. That's redundant, right? DFS is daily fantasy sports. Are you daily fantasy sports? That's redundant. Who sent me that? Multiple DFS sports, right? That's not right. That sounds silly.
At least you're not Anchorman, Rob, and you read everything. You don't read everything that they.
I read it. As I read it, I was like, I don't think that's the right way to do it. Okay, let's go to DraftKings. We only have 14 minutes or so. Kirkwood, what are we doing? DK point guard. Walk me through it.
All right, DraftKings top 2 studs of the day are Cade Cunningham and Luka Doncic. Also, love Austin Reeves. I mean, that dude just balls.
Good, man.
Yeah, and then there's so many plays I like here. There's the Tiny Hands play of the day at 4K for TJ McConnell. You have to like that. There's Trey Jones, like I've already talked up, 5,900. There is Tyus Jones, who could have a good night against Toronto. Although Toronto's been playing a little bit better D, but a bunch of their guys out. Stephen Castle trying to cement his name for Rookie of the Year. Always like that. Scottie Pippen Jr. We're waiting on that news, but like him, expecting to play. But if he doesn't, like I said, you can go down to Kennard, and then Devin Booker.
Okay, Bobby, your thoughts at point? What do you like
for the cash game plays? Nembhard, Jared Butler, Trey Jones, TJ McConnell. Throw him in there. I think Kobe's good for cash. Like I don't mind Kobe White for cash. That would pretty much be it for me from a cash game perspective. And then from ceiling, just from tournaments, Cade Cunningham, phenomenal spot. It's Cade. He's really turned it up a notch this season. So 10-5 for Cade, I think, is totally fine. Kobe White, 7-7 again. Talked about him. Tyler Hero, 8-4. Simons, 7-2. Those would be the main tournament plays for me. You could throw Jamal Murray in there, but he has the Q tag.
Okay. How about shooting guard?
Shooting guard. All right. Shooting guard, Benedict Mathurin, Nembhard, the 2 indie value plays. I think they're firmly in play. Jaime Jaquez, now that he's starting. Gives you a play on the Heat side outside of Hero that I think is relatively viable. Ricky Council for Philly at 5K. Trey Jones, 6'3", Kobe White, 7'7". I feel like I'm mentioning Kobe White a ton on the show. Those would be like the ones I'd consider in cash. And then from tournaments, Devin Booker, Desmond Bane, Anthony Edwards, Zach LaVine, Malik Monk at 7-1, I think is interesting. Jordan Poole buried me the other night with a 35-foot 3 to make that game not go into overtime where I would have done really well. I don't like playing him, but I think I can make an exception versus Portland and throw him in the tournament pool at 7K.
Okay. I think we're at shooting guard now, Bobby, right? Or were we just doing that? We just did that.
No, we did point guard. We didn't do shooting guard yet.
Okay. Your thoughts at shooting guard, Bobby?
Well, did we do shooting guard? I don't know. Maybe I.
No, you're right. You're right. We didn't.
We didn't do shooting guard. Okay. No, I think I jumped to
a lot of the same names. They're all both
fine.
shooting guard.
It's all the same stuff.
Let's
all
go
right,
to
shooting guard. I'm going to finish my shooting guard. Okay.
Okay.
Kobe
You
White,
do shooting guard.
Kevin Huerter, Austin Reeves, Devin Booker, Anthony Edwards, Trey Murphy, Anthony Simons, Stephen Castle. My favorite play is Kobe White and My second favorite play is Anthony Edwards.
Okay. Now we get to go to small forward. Kirkwood, what are you doing there?
Okay, small forward. Benedict Mathurin seems to be the clear. I mean, 4,400 on DraftKings. I mean, that's lock city to me. Complete, go over whatever it is. Jarace Walker is small forward eligible, so I like that. Denny Avdia, Kobe White is also small forward eligible, so. He's a top play. You're playing Kobe White tonight for playing cash, and he's also a tough fade in tournaments. Champagne. Sorry, yep. My mind. A lot of players going through my head. It's tough to stay on. Like him, I have had him tagged all day. Kevin Herter. We've already talked about that. It's basically the same price on DraftKings and FanDuel. You do get the 3-point bonus for him. A bunch of minutes. Trey Murphy, Ricky Council, and you can play Jaime Jaquez if you want. And I think I don't think it really matters waiting too much. There's not too much huge news coming. Yeah. Someone asked why no Luke Kennard-Love. I do have Luke Kennard-Love. I'm just kind of waiting to see which one I would prefer. You can play him. He's in play regardless, but if Scottie Pippen's out, he definitely shoots up a ton.
Yeah. Okay. Bobby, your thoughts on small forward?
Yeah, small forward. Interesting position again. Benedict Mathurin, Jarace Walker, 2 indie guys, 3K for Walker. Jaime Jaquez, talked about him starting at 4K. Kevin Herter at 5.2. Pat Williams, 3.6. Good matchup versus Utah for the Bulls there. Should be just an up and pace game in general. Johnny Juzang.
I think it's his birthday.
Is it his birthday? That we'll put it.
I think I saw it on Twitter. Don't hold it to me, but
give him a projection.
Butthole, no.
Give him the Roth projection boost for the narrative. That's mainly the low value plays or the cash game plays. Sorry, not low value. Zion Williams 9.4, Jimmy Butler 7.7, Avdia 7.1. Levine 8.7, and DeMar DeRozan. That would be the main guys that I'd be looking for from a tournament perspective.
Okay. Can confirm it is a Juzang birthday. Let's go to power forward. Bobby, what do you like there?
All right, I could get my teams in, Roth.
I'm sorry. My teams in. I know it sucks. You got to work.
Well, that's I planned this. I knew that you get 2 back-to-back, and that's why I'm doing my team right
Obi
now.
Toppin, Jarace Walker, Pat Williams for the value. Play some Draymond. Draymond's been playing well at 5'9". Ricky Council 5'2". Justin Champagne, Denny Avdia. Those are like the safe plays, I would say, are the values. And then the ceiling plays that I like, Kevin Durant, Jaren Jackson, Zion Williamson, Denny Avdia again, Josh Hart, although I'm trying to get away from that game if I can. Just want to have more exposure to later games. That's pretty much it. Julius Randle versus Indy 7-7.
Okay. Kirkwood, your thoughts of power forward?
Sure. Power forward is some of the same guys I said, but Denny Avdia, Jarace Walker. I like Draymond a lot. First price, 5,900 is too cheap in a game that they should be all up for playing. I think it's the national TV game tonight. I think. Obi Toppin, better here on DraftKings. He's just so cheap at 3,600. Champagne, Ricky Council, Triple J, love Triple J, and that's a good amount.
Okay, then we get to go to center.
Center, you get the Thomas Bryant chalk. It's a little worried because of Gobert. And also the blowout in Minnesota in general. And also he's a guy that they will bench if he's not playing so well. But 3K is ridiculous. So I think you got to – it's a different conversation. It's a little more expensive on FanDuel. But DraftKings just find a way to fit him in. Joker, Klingon, Duran. Orlando Robinson, Cat, and Jaren Jackson Jr.
Okay. Bobby, your thoughts at center?
Yeah, center position. Thomas Bryant, Obi Toppin, Robinson for Toronto. Those are like the main value guys I'd be interested in. Klingon at 5'8". And spending up, obviously the Joker, $13K. Spending a lot of your salary, but I think it's worth it tonight. Karl Anthony Towns has center eligibility as well. Alperen Sengun, very like you're taking these guys out for Philly. It should be a good matchup. Kevin Durant has center eligibility at 9.7. Jaren Jackson at 8.4. Those are like the main center pieces for me from a tournament perspective.
Okay. Good job, boys. Let's get to some QQs. We only have 3-4 minutes or so until lock. We'll start in the Discord. By the way, if you're watching on YouTube, hit the thumbs up. We'll get to those questions in a bit. Beaner says, what are your thoughts on Sabonis, Bobby, in a FanDuel GPP?
He's fine on FanDuel. Sabonis is cool.
Yep. Okay. FanDuel cash question. Bobby, right back to you. Sar or Dre? Straight up.
Sar looked good the other night. I'm going to go Sar.
Okay. We got a DK cash question for you, Kirk. It is a 3v3. Nembhard, Jaquez, and Vooch, or Herter, Kobe White, and McConnell.
Herter, Kobe White, and McConnell.
All right. Jumping into the old YouTube, checking things out here. Javier says, I don't want to play 3 Indiana guys in my single entry. Can somebody help me? He doesn't want to. Kirkwood, does he have to?
No.
All right. Then don't do it.
Play
we can
2.
help you. Don't do it.
Play 2.
Somebody else. Yeah. Play 2. Play somebody else. 3v3 for you, Bobby. Bane, Luka, Bryant, or Klingon, Cade, Triple J.
Klingon, Cade, Triple J.
Okay. Castle or Vassell for you, Bobby? Who do you prefer?
Castle.
Any interest in Sohan, Kirky?
Yeah, why not? A little bit.
Okay. Somehow we only saved 3 minutes for questions, and we've answered all the questions. I don't know how the hell we did that. If you have questions, please do get them in, because otherwise we sit here silently and awkwardly.
If not, I can talk about what's been going down in NBA Discord chat if we don't have any questions.
Is there drama going down?
I'm interested. For sure.
So there's this guy Roop who I told you about who got he was in the clink for the dog fight. Someone
he was in the clink.
Well, no, he got a ticket. He had to go to court for it.
Okay.
I don't know. There's some pictures of him floating around in there wearing a tutu, and like things are going to get really weird in there. I don't think there's a mod anymore. I don't know, but it's, yeah.
I think you are supposed to be the mod for what it's worth. I think as an employee of RotoGrinders, you were supposed to help moderate things.
No one has approached me with that yet. So
right.
let's stay away from that one.
Kennard or Tiny Hands play of the day, TJ McConnell on FanDuel, Kirk?
It's Tiny Hands play of the day, all day, every day.
Okay. Bobby, you want Bane or Reeves?
Bane.
Okay. Hoosiers Hang Banner says, bring the kids on the show. That's true. We can always just, how many kids do we have? Kirkwood, you got 1 or 2?
I got 1.
You got 1. All right.
Too
So
many
we got
kids.
5.
Too many kids.
We got 5 working on 6. Mine are not here, which is why you're not hearing screaming babies in the background, which is a rarity for me. How many Pacers is too many Pacers on DK Cash, Bobby?
I go 3. 3 is always the number for me.
Yeah. All right. Who's going to break the slate?
For cash, you could go 4, bro. I go 3.
Yeah. Okay. Who's going to break the slate? This is always my favorite question. Who's breaking the slate? Bobby?
Cade Cunningham.
I love that call. Kirk?
He's not going to do it, but I'm going to back him. Well, I think Austin Reeves is going to break the slate somehow, some way. And I think it's too late now because I think Cat is going to go off tonight.
Okay. Booker or KD in a FanDuel GPP? You kind of talked about you don't really trust Durant. Some injuries. You said he looked like shit. You'd rather have Booker.
Booker all day.
Fu, I'm going to pronounce it Fu, though I don't think that's what it is, says Şengün is breaking the slate. And that's a perfectly fine GPP play, right? We're on board with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, we've hit the lock. We did get Tyus Jones or Toppin just before we hit lock. Bobby, Tyus or Toppin?
I'd go Toppin.
Okay. I thought we were.
Actually, can I change that? I want to go Tyus.
I thought you might. That's why I was a little.
I have more
surprised.
Tyus. Yeah, I have way more Tyus. I have 100% Tyus currently.
Yeah.
I just ran it for the last time.
Okay. T from Loke says Kirk must be looking at my lines. He's got Tari and Reeves locked in.
We need to, that's the thing. That's where I always go first. T from Loke is a veteran. He's been around the game a long time. He's been crushing it. And if he says he's got him, then I gotta follow.
There you go. We did get a quick question here. We got a couple more coming in. We'll just answer them real fast before we bounce. Edwards or Reeves in a GPP, Kirk?
They're both awesome, but I think Reeves is going off.
Okay.
San
And then
Antonio's
Bobby.
defense.
Yeah, Bobby Stardog says Jonathan Kuminga! Exclamation mark. Thoughts?
No Kuminga for me, but I ended up getting one Steph team from Golden State. He's my only Golden State Warrior currently.
Okay. There you have it. With that, we have hit lock. We have surpassed lock. We've given you the plays, and we've done the things we came here to do. Now it is time to drink some beers, watch some sports, and have a wonderful St. Patty's Day. So for Kirk, for Bobby, for our wonderful production crew, always working hard behind the scenes, guys, we appreciate you. We love you, and we will catch you tomorrow. You have been